So I got the review code like an hour and a half after we finished the stream on Wednesday. So I immediately installed it and started playing it. And I'm going to show you some stuff, because if you watched the review that just went up on the channel like 30 minutes ago, you might have seen some of this. Let me just paint the picture for you. The game was so totally broken, like for the majority of my game time with it, that the average session looked kind of like this. Okay, let me see. I think this, yeah, this is it. This is me loading in and starting to play. Okay, this is running off of, this was on the second computer I tried with a 3070 in it, running at 1080p, low settings across the board. Okay, well above the minimum requirements. Okay, like let's be very, very clear. Watch this. This is not the stream stuttering. This is not the like video player stuttering. This is the game. And to demonstrate, I'll keep moving around as it goes. Look how terrible this stutter is. This is what it actually looked like. This is recording on a separate PC through a graphics or a capture card. This is what was being sent out to the monitor. And this is what I spent like 8 hours playing the game with. This level of struggle. Oh, bro. My understanding is that this is a shader compilation issue, which basically just means that when it is trying to, like, whenever a new item or new something or other appears on screen, it has to compile the shader, and so the shader has to be queued up and prepared. And when the engine doesn't do that properly, it causes stutters, because every time something new happens, it freezes up trying to do that, and then it causes these massive stutters. The positive thing is that as time goes on, it actually smooths out. And after those shaders have been compiled, performance improves. So when you initially enter areas, it's super stuttery, but after like 20, 30 seconds, it smooths out, and then it shouldn't be anywhere near as bad. And so for combat, a lot of combat encounters, the first time you start them, you might hit a stutter and then get jumped and, you know, die as a result. But after that, the shader's been compiled, and the second time you go through will be fine. I get stutters like this in Star Citizen 2 after a new update. Oh, dude, that sucks. And Star Citizen already is pretty rough in terms of shader compilation. It's just really, really discouraging and unfortunate. And so let me further explain this, because in the review I run through it briefly, but I want to paint you the full picture as well. So I finished playing this game. Look at that stutter. Oh God almighty. I finished playing this game. It was last night at like maybe 5 p.m. last afternoon, whatever. 5 p.m. I finished it. And so then I started writing the script. And I have my script pulled up on this screen. I mean, you guys can see it here. I guess this. I've got my like script pulled up here on the top screen and the lower screens, and then I've got the game right here. Or I had Steam. I closed the game through Steam. And so I had this pulled up, and I was just typing away. I was writing out the script, and I did a whole like paragraph of how horrible the PC port was, and it was the worst thing I'd seen since Batman Arkham Knight, blah, blah, blah. And then I notice a Steam update. And this, I don't think I mentioned this in the review. This was the second Steam update in like a 3-hour period. At 3 p.m. yesterday, right as I headed into the finale of the game, they dropped, like, I think it was a 14 gigabyte update file, which greatly improved performance. It still stuttered pretty bad, but it was a lot better. And so I played it, and I removed a good amount of my complaining after that 3 p.m. patch that was smaller. But then at like 6 p.m., they drop a 65 gigabyte patch, which basically just constitutes re-downloading the whole game at that point. Also, weirdly, when we were reviewing the game, it ran, or the download was 85 or 88 gigs. That was the game install size. But now if you install it, I think it's like 68. So somehow they shed like 20 gigs. I don't know how. Maybe that's relevant. Maybe it's not. I don't know. But So they issued 2 day 1 patches, as far as I can tell, within the span of about 4 hours, which is really weird. It's really freaking weird. So I don't really know what to make of it. What I do know is after they released the 6 p.m. patch, I went through the beginning and all of a sudden I didn't have stutters anywhere near like this. Oh God, look at this. Look at this stutter. Look at this one. Hold on. I run up to the building. Just watch when I go inside. Ready? Okay. Oh, well, it's loading. It's fine. It's loading, right? Walk through the door. I dare you. It's like, hold on. Oh, God, man. And here's the thing. I saw some mixed messages going out on social media. The publisher for this game was a company called Krafton. Krafton is a publisher. They are tied to like PUBG. Is, I think, their biggest game that they cover. They've done some other stuff, but that's kind of the big thing. And they did not allow reviews to go up for any platform until launch, like the moment of launch. So last night, for me, it was last night at 10 p.m. for like, it was midnight Eastern is what it was. So you have to question like, okay, well, why? Because that's a conscious decision. Whenever a publisher sets a review embargo, that's a conscious decision. If it's 3 days before launch, I think any time between like maybe the day before and a week before is pretty standard. If you give reviewers more time than that, that's highly exceptional, and it shows that you are very confident in your game and it's polished like crazy. That's what we have with like God of War, right? Where they sent the game to reviewers like 2 full weeks early, which is crazy. That just never happens unless the game is very polished and they're very confident that it's going to be awesome. So whenever you see a studio do this and they withhold the reviews from going up until basically pre-orders have already been fulfilled, basically till it's too late for a lot of people. Red flag. That's not good. So I was already very suspicious when they sent the review code at the last minute and they said you cannot say anything about it until the moment the game releases. And my understanding is that, or my deduction or inference from this information, is that they knew that the PC port was having major problems. How could you not know? I mean, you're looking at this footage. How could you not know? It's terrible. So they knew that the PC port was like this, and instead of letting reviewers communicate that to the public, they pushed back and limited when reviews could go up and kind of tried to bury it. And it's stupid because the patch fixed a good amount of it. I know a lot of people are having trouble with the PC port right now, from what I understand, even after the patch. What I'm telling you is if you're having trouble with the patch, like as you're playing the game right now with new drivers and stuff, just imagine what it was like like yesterday, 2 days ago. It was that times 30. It was terrible. And here's the thing that's like extra stupid about it. Because the review embargo was set up like that, and because the day 1 patch that supposedly fixed a lot of this stuff came out at the last possible moment, like literally 4 hours before the game released. Because of that, reviewers like, Skill Up, who's in Australia, I think is where he lives. He might live in LA. I have no idea. But any reviewer that's not like on the West Coast probably was asleep, or at the very least at home getting ready to go to sleep at the time the replacement patch dropped. So they have no idea that a lot of this stuff was fixed. So it's just like across the board, the stupidest thing they could have done. Because now all of these reviewers, and I said it in my review, said be prepared because the PC reviews, I'm sure, are going to tear the game a new one, and rightly so, because until 4 hours before launch, the game was horrible on PC, like terribly broken. After that happened, like after the patch went up, I actually had a decent time with it and I didn't have too much trouble. I still stand by the other things that I would say, like even if the game runs really well, like on PS5, which my understanding is the PS5 port is actually pretty solid. It's pretty standard for Unreal Engine games. They're usually better on console than they are on PC, unfortunately. Even if the game runs well, it still has a handful of problems. I still think that the story is painfully boring. The characters are terribly underdeveloped. The game is a lot shorter than they said it was. They said 12 to 14 hours, I'm pretty sure. I finished it in 10 hours and 20 minutes. And that includes time in the menus tinkering with graphical settings. Realistically, it was probably like 9.5 hours to get through it. Which, like, I didn't rush. And I played on the medium. They have it ranked like minimum security, medium security, maximum security are the difficulty options. I played it on the middle setting, which is what I usually do for reviews. Try to do what most people will play it on. And I blasted through the game. Not because I was skipping stuff. Like, I fully upgraded, like, all the weapons. Not all the weapons. I think one I didn't really mess with. The tac pistol, whatever. But that was mainly because the shotguns are pretty overpowered by themselves. So, like, I didn't skip anything. I clipped along through the game at a pretty good pace. And it was way shorter than I had seen. Which is just weird. Thank you kindly.
Luke Stevens live, it didn't fix it. It's shaders, so the second time you run through the game, it's better. Try it on a fresh machine now, and it'll be the same.
I believe that. I believe that. I even tried it on Steam Deck, and same issues on Steam Deck, which is unfortunate, but no guarantee it'll work. Yeah, and the sucky thing about the shader issues is just, like, there's nothing you can do. It doesn't matter how powerful your PC is. Doesn't matter how fast your SSD is. Like, doesn't matter how much RGB you have. It's just gonna run crappily and it's gonna stutter and you can't do anything about it. It's unfortunate.